A small-town social worker gets obsessed with a case after witnessing a horrifying accident. Fighting with everyone to get to the bottom of it.
Sometimes we have to do what is required.
After losing the love of her life, she is now determined to find his killer. The movie begins with a naked woman escaping from a pig farm at night. She is followed by a brutal serial killer, Theodore, also known as the Squealer. She runs into the middle of the road and gets hit by a truck that belongs to an old couple, who immediately take her to the hospital in the nearest town. On the other side of town, Lisa, a local social worker who tries to help prostitutes, intervenes for another street girl called Sadie. She tries to set her up for a job interview and even invites her to her house to give her some clothes. Then, Jack, a local cop who is also Lisa's ex-husband, pulls at the scene with his cop car. He forces Lisa into his vehicle, and the two have a chat, but their conversation is cut short when Lisa gets a call from the hospital. As Theodore searches for the woman, Lisa arrives at the hospital and meets with Joe, the doctor, who treated her when she first came in. He tells her that the woman has multiple cuts and is high on drugs. Then, he led her to the bed, but they couldn't find her. They see the trail of blood and find the woman hiding under a table. Lisa carefully spoke with the scared woman, who was squirming. She manages to hold her hand and tries to get her back to the bed, but the woman gets freaked out after seeing someone entering a room and runs away freaked out more than ever. Although Lisa tried to follow her as fast as she could, the woman went outside and got into a horrible car accident. Joe hugs Lisa and pulls her back. The next day, Lisa goes to the police station and talks to Jack, but he doesn't say much except telling her they are working on it. Later, she helps Sadie with her clothes and sets her up. That night, Lisa arrives at a bar where the prostitutes hang out and asks them about the woman. One of the girls told Lisa that this incident was not the first time such things had happened and mentioned that girls have been disappearing around town for years. Lisa is surprised and asks why they didn't speak to the cops. The girls tell her that they tried, but nobody listened. At the same time, Theodore is seen to be walking outside and a street girl walks into his truck, thinking it was business as usual. He takes her back to his house and prepares his set of knives as she takes drugs while lying half naked. Then, he places a plastic bag behind her. The girl sees him come close to her with a knife in his hand and knows she's in danger. But she was too high on the drug to do anything. He stabs her in the chest and takes out her organs. In the morning, the killer puts a well-grinded meat that is revealed to be human when he pulls out a small chain that belongs to a girl and takes it to the local shop. At the police station, Lisa talks to Jack about the missing prostitutes, but he downplays it, and Lisa gets into an argument with Sylvia, a female officer who shares Jack's thoughts. She leaves after expressing her disappointment in the police and goes to her office. Lisa searches for missing persons on the Department of Social Services database, where there are multiple pictures of women. After a while, Joe arrives at the office with a cup of coffee and asks her to consider that maybe Jack is right and most of the girls are drifters who don't want to be found. But Lisa has a feeling that someone is killing lots of women. Joe mentions that there was a farm smell on the body of the first victim, and Lisa makes the connection with the area where the old couple found the woman in the first place. Later, Danny, Theodore's drug supplier, arrives with the drugs and tells him that he added some extra amount in exchange for disposing of a body he brought with him. When the truck is opened, the body is revealed to be a dead Latino guy with a crossbow in his head.
Okay, let's figure this out here.
Theodore takes the body into a wheel cart and pushes it into the farm. Then, he sticks a hook into it before pulling it upwards with a remote. After Theodore puts down the body on a table, he uses his knife to make a cut on his inner thigh as Danny watches in disgust. But he couldn't stay for long and decided to wait outside. Theodore gets out of the barn after a while and tells him that the job is done. Impressed with his work, Danny tries to give him some advice about changing his appearance and doing some business, but Theodore is revealed to be a rich man who sold his uncle's piece of land in millions. During their conversation, Danny hears the sound of pigs a little far from them and asks about it. Theodore takes him to see the pigs, being fed by a woman called Erlin, a strange red-haired girl who is present the night Lisa spoke to the prostitutes at the bar. She is also Theodore's and is seen feeding human body parts of the woman to the pigs. She tells Theodore that Lisa is asking a lot of questions. Back at the station, Jack, who talked to a hooker about the woman, calls Paul, an irritating police officer, into his office and asks him to help him with the case, but Paul tells him he is doing all of this to get back with Lisa. Jack gets pissed off and is about to get into a fight with him, but another female officer steps in and stops him. That night, Theodore goes to the bar and sees Erlyn talking with the bartender, Star. She asks her about Lisa, but Star warns Erlyn about messing with her and mentions that she used to be married to a cop. Theodore takes a seat at the bar and Erlyn pretends like she doesn't know him. She takes her friend and asks him for a smoke. She takes another girl who is hanging out with her to a spot, but Star orders her to go outside if they want to smoke. So the three of them go outside and Theodore offers to take them home to enjoy the rest of Saturday night. Coincidentally, Lisa visits the bar and asks Star about Erlyn. She goes outside, but Erlyn is already gone. After a while, Theodore arrives with Erlyn and the new girl at his home. Erlyn has some fun, rolling up a blunt and snorting the drugs while the new girl dances. But Theodore prepares his set of knives and the plastic in the bedroom. When Erlyn hears the sound of the plastic, she gets ready to leave and goes out the door after taking the keys to the truck. But the new girl takes off her top and follows Theodore to his bedroom. Things didn't go as planned when the girl insisted on getting a beer from the fridge, which was full of human body parts. Theodore kills the girl on the spot. Lisa goes to see Jack about the case the next day, but they end up having a fight after she saw him laughing with Sylvia. Jack gets angry and orders her to stay away from him when she makes the conversation about the case. Next, Erlyn and Theodore are seen traveling on a road in the country, but she tells him they should take a break, but he doesn't want to stop. Instead, after promising to find Lisa, he stops to pick up another girl, and with the help of Erlyn, they get her into the truck. At night, Jack arrives at Lisa's home with wine and pizza to apologize for earlier. After dancing together, he tries to initiate an intimate act, but she tells him she needs a little more time. Back at the pig farm, the girl is a bit high, but conscious. So when Theodore tells her to take her clothes, she suspects something is wrong and runs from him. She hides in a huge fridge as he chases her. In a flashback to the past, young Theodore is seen being verbally abused by his mother, who insults him for caring about pigs and is locked in a closet. At the present, he finds the girl in the fridge and stabs her. He later opens the smaller fridge inside the house, where both her hands are inside it, and puts it on top of a jar full of other people's eyes. On the other hand, Lisa thinks she has a lead when she discovers some drugs from Sadie, who decides to be honest with her after thanking her for getting a new job. As she goes to the station to track down the supplier, she calls Jack to make up for the previous night. Sadie, who is cleaned up and dressed professionally, goes through the gate of Lisa's apartment, but Theodore follows her and approaches her, pretending to meet a business colleague. They have a small talk and start getting to know each other. After they get to the apartment, Theodore tells her he is also there to see Lisa. He introduces himself, and Sadie offers him to wait for Lisa. After a little hesitation, Theodore agrees and follows her into the apartment. Meanwhile, Jack arrives at Lisa's apartment to surprise her, but discovers the body of Sadie covered with the bed sheets. While waiting for backup to arrive, Jack receives Lisa's voice message and leaves the apartment to find her. Lisa, on the other hand, runs out of gas a few miles away from the farm and gets stranded in the middle of nowhere. She called Jack's phone, but it kept sending her to voicemail. Lisa tried to call everyone, including the station, but she couldn't find anyone. Theodore arrives at the farm, and Danny gets angry when he hears that Sadie took off. Theodore also loses it when Danny insults him and picks up the crossbow as Danny points his gun. Theodore runs away just before Danny fires some rounds. At the same time, Jack arrives at the farm and confronts Danny, who doesn't want to cooperate. Jack shoots Danny multiple times after warning him. Jack approaches him, but Danny gets brutally eaten by the pigs, who drag him to their cage with his leg. While Jack is destroyed watching Danny, Theodore approaches him from behind and electrocutes him with a taser. Then, he kills him after stabbing him with a knife in the chest. When Theodore hears Jack's phone buzzing, Theodore discovers it is Lisa and makes a video recording of Jack lying dead in his police car. Lisa gets determined to track down Theodore and runs to his farm to confront him. She comes face to face with him, and he tells her about Sadie. She escapes into the barn, and he follows her. Although Lisa managed to electrocute him for a short while, she ended up running to his workshop where he used to grind the meat. He beats her up, but he suddenly freezes when she insults him using a similar word that his mother called him. Lisa beats him constantly and stabs him using a pitchfork. Then she uses an electric hook to drop on a conveyor belt that leads to a huge grinding machine and starts the conveyor belt. After the death of Theodore, Joe arrives at the scene and gives Lisa a cigarette. He leaves to check on the ambulance, and Lisa enjoys smoking after having quit cigarettes for a long time. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.